And they are the number 1 seed after all of this. Pretty unbelievable. The Heat clinched the number 1 seed. So now we know that for certain. While it was kind of up in the air, at least until last evening, they are going to be the 1 seed. And so the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to go through Miami. And I feel like the Heat have not gotten a tremendous amount of chatter this year regarding what they've done. There's been a little more recently because of Tyler Hero and the numbers he has put up as a reserve. He's probably going to run away with Sixth Man of the Year, which is, frankly, the only award that will probably be a runaway this entire season. But you look at what they were able to do this year, and I found it last night. Jimmy Butler missed 24 games. Bam Adebayo missed 25 games. Kyle Lowry missed 18 games. Tyler Hero missed 15. Markieff Morris missed 63. And Victor Oladipo missed 73. And they are the number 1 seed after all of this. Pretty unbelievable. In a season where we said, typically you'd think that many teams' success is dependent upon their availability and how healthy they were able to stay. This was hardly the team that was the beacon of health. And so do you think that throughout the season, they should have been talked up more, that their odds should be shorter? Because when you consider how many games all those integral people to what you would think would be their level of success missed, here they are in the end, and they're locked up as 1.
You know what? Everything you just said has been the type of stuff that we and all of media have been talking about all season long with Memphis. The fact they're resilient, they can win through adversity, through missing guys, particularly with Ja, with Memphis. But with Miami, they're kind of like old news at this point in terms of they're not the fresh thing anymore. So they're not getting that attention, but that shouldn't diminish how amazing it is that they've been able to do what they do. Remember that stretch mid-season, Chris, when they had Omer Yurtseven for 30 minutes per game, and they're still winning every single night. And he's a good player. It just speaks to the amount of depth that they have on their roster, that they can take a guy who's going from 10 to 15 minutes per game, some DNPs, to, hey, now you're playing 30 minutes a night. And that's true across the roster. They have, we'll see if Hero ends up winning Sixth Man of the Year. He's the strongest candidate in my book. You can slide him to the starting lineup if you need to. You have Duncan Robinson and Max Strus. Yep. It's like an overflow of talent on that team. And Spoelstra, being as unbelievable as he is, just makes it all work.
Well, and one of the things, as you mentioned Memphis earlier, one of the things they've been credited for this year is having and establishing an incredible culture, much like we had San Antonio for so many years. And while people can roll their eyes at the Heat culture thing, it is absolutely real.
And Heat culture isn't just this, aura in Miami, and you walk into Pat Riley's office and you suddenly become gritty.
There is a standard in which you are expected to play.
They bring in those players who check those boxes, those characteristics, and then they perform together and raise each other's levels. That's really the secret.
That's right. They find guys that fit the way they want to play and that will play. And if, much like San Antonio and much like Memphis now, if you are not going to be that type of player, then they will move on from you, or you won't see the court. End of story. And it's real. And I do think when you consider, that's a lot of games missed by a lot of awesome players. I think that part of it with Miami, if I'm just making some excuse, and look, at the beginning of the season, I told you they were my pick to win the thing this year.
Yeah, you called it. You did call that.
They and Phoenix are the 2 best teams I have seen in person this year. They're the 2 times that I've walked out of the arena and I've been like, whoa, Like, because they're veterans. They got kind of everything at every position. Both of them bring a lot to the table, and those are the teams that are going to end up number one in each of the conferences. But I think that, when you don't have somebody kind of in the MVP race, you're not on national TV as much as many of your peers. And in addition to that, you don't have a rookie that everybody's going to watch. You don't have an MVP candidate that everybody's watching. You don't have a lot of awards guys. You don't have a lot of highlights, for that matter. These aren't highlight players. And so I do think that it's more difficult to get into the conversation when all of those things apply to you, but they are absolutely awesome. And when they have all of their guys, I think beating them, not that they have the strongest home court advantage, but I do think beating them and having to beat them in Miami to get it done is going to be a major task, even for whoever, Milwaukee, Philly, Boston, whoever we want to name.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Chris. I think you nailed it there. They are going to be a major challenge for anybody, and either whether it's the finals or just the East playoffs, because this team has so much depth, because they have arguably the defensive player of the year, and Bam Adebayo. He's one of the top candidates. The only argument really against him is the fact he's played under 60 games. But this team is equipped for great success come postseason time, and that's because, like the best teams in basketball, like Phoenix, like Memphis, they can put out, Spoelstra can utilize different lineups and get different styles out of it. And whether it's on offense, heavy switching, or whether it's on the offensive end with their ability just to play through dribble handoffs, high pick and roll, isolations. They can do anything with the amount of personnel they have. And Spoelstra is
I will
one
say
of the best
this for
coaches
their
in all
credit.
of basketball.
We've talked a lot about avoiding matchups. If I'm one of those lower seeds, they're who I want to avoid. I mean, because they will.
I don't know. Do you want to avoid them for who? Milwaukee?
No. I'm saying if you are. Oh, I think that Brooklyn might win a couple games against Milwaukee. I think they'll get smoked by Miami. I think Atlanta might win a game or two. Against Milwaukee. It's just the way they play. It's the way they play.
The toughness.
Yeah, and the defense. You know what I mean?
What about the
We just saw a game where Giannis hit the three to go to overtime. I mean, I just saw those teams play. So the idea that I think they could be competitive against them is not that far-fetched to me. I think that Atlanta or Brooklyn, if I'm one of those teams, I'm desperately trying to stay away from Miami. I don't think they're going to beat Milwaukee either if Milwaukee ends up 2. But I'm saying those would be the teams that Miami would be the team that I wouldn't want to see.